Hi, good evening. How are you doing today? I've been speaking every day on mindset, which is what that drives our perception, thoughts, decision making, and actions and responses. That's been my main theme, and I've been trying to talk about this because I believe that if all of us understood what mindset is and how mindset gets formed, then we could make a difference in our lives and create a better society. That's been my main agenda and objective all this while. So I'll continue with the same thing today also, which is about mindset. And added to that, I also talk about the quarterly business plan, which I had done to really talk about what kind of routines need to be practiced for a quarterly business plan. Before that, let me first introduce mindset to you. Mindset is all about the way we are perceiving reality, the way we are thinking by connecting the dots to establish the cause and effect, the way we are deciding either by the gut or based on our intuition or based on the uh, benefits and effort involved, and finally the way we are acting and responding. This is what mindset is all about, and it gets developed based on our past experiences and emotional experiences, emotions linked to our experiences, which is what that drives our mindset. And based on this mindset, predictions are done continuously by our mind in real time basis, so that we can manage the entire extremely complex environment around us with ease. And these predictions are what that govern our mindset, perceiving, thinking, deciding, acting, or responding. And I've been asking you to do a simple exercise, which is to talk to your neighbors, friends, relatives, or colleagues on their perception of the current reality of people to people interactions and what you assume their perceptions would be. Try to find the commonalities and the differences, and then uh, start a dialogue with them to establish a common collective mindset. So before I talk about what mindset, why mindset, let me explain some basic ground rules, which possibly I'd left out, which is extremely important. So when I speak about mindset, mindset is something which is uh, what we all, each one of us are unique. We have a unique mindset. And there are two types of mindset, which is popularly spoken about in the industry and everywhere in the available research material. One is called as the fixed mindset. The other one is called as the agile mindset or the growth mindset. Let me first introduce you to the fixed and the growth mindset first, and then talk about collective mindset before I get into the business plan today. And of course, I'll talk about why mindset in between. So let me start talking about the fixed mindset. Fixed mindset is something where we believe that the intelligence is static. That I think that whatever I have. Nothing better can be done. So this leads to a desire to always look smart, because I can't really prove myself an idiot, so I have to look smart. And therefore, there is a tendency, I'm telling you, tendency to look for people who can reinforce our self-esteem. That means I really don't want to go to somebody who is going to challenge me, who's going to really question me something which I'm not sure of. So I only surround myself with people who reinforce whatever I know and keep telling me that I'm the ustad, I'm the great guy, I'm an outstanding chap, in spite of me knowing that these guys will definitely not help me in improving. I don't want to improve. My belief is whatever I have, I have. So I need to really be happy. Therefore, I surround myself with people who would not, who would only reinforce whatever I have got, but really don't challenge me or anything like that. And there is a tendency to avoid experiences with because of the fear of failure. So I'm not very comfortable with failure. I've never had failure in my life. I'd explain one incident which I had in a company where I was working a while back. In one of the earlier videos, you can have a look. It was about a fresher whom we had recruited from a college, from a reputed college, who went into a depression only because the site engineer told him that, look, guy, you are absolute nonsense. You're really not doing the job the way we expected you to do. That's all. And that really took him into depression. And it was a bad time because he says that I've never failed in my life. I've cleared all the exams and I've gone through IIT. I've been the topper in IIT. And now this guy who is not even a graduate in the construction side tells me that I'm not really doing my job correctly. How the hell is it possible? So that fear is something which is very, very strong. That's a tendency because the fixed mindset believes that intelligence is static, then avoids challenges, of course, because of that, and gives up easily. If there is a challenge, I would not really take on so strongly. I would give it up. and sees effort as fruitless and worse. Put in more effort, it's really not worthwhile. That's the perception, that's the mindset. Avoids and ignores useful negative feedback. Now, I would like not to get any negative feedback because I would get more tensed up with that. So I would prefer avoid it. So don't really get into that situation at all. And finally, feels threatened by the success of others because see that somebody is succeeding. I find all kinds of excuses to justify as to why they succeeded, even though they were not good. And I would feel scared. Therefore, I behave in a certain way, which is strange and crazy, and focuses on the outcome, since I would consider the results as the identity. So I will only focus on the outcome. So as far as the outcome is good, it's fine. It's like somebody dividing. My wife's uncle is a maths professor in college, and he was my professor too. Of course, I didn't know him. It was much earlier to our marriage, and he used to write on the board simple math equation: 64 divided by 16, and then strike out the two sixes in 6 and 6 in between 64 and 16. You can understand. Write it on your paper. You can make it out. 64 divided by 16 or 16 divided by 64 is 1 divided by 4. How do you get that? Because you strike the two sixes, one 6 of the 64, other 6 of the 16, and the answer was 1/4. And that's the way it is. So I'm only worried about the answer. I'm not really worried about how I got the answer. So that's something which I remembered. I thought of sharing. So outcome is extremely important. As a result, I may plateau early. That means I come to my limit quite early in my life and achieve far lesser than my full potential. That is the fixed mindset. Now, let me explain what growth mindset is or agile mindset is. That is the opposite of this. I'm sure you would have guessed it already, which is what gets evolved as you play doHow, and that is the evolution which I'm talking about when I speak about changing the mindset, understanding the mindset to evolve a agile mindset. What is an agile mindset? Agile mindset is where you believe that intelligence can be developed. Anybody can develop anything. There is no problem. Which I've been telling from the day one, because all of us are born with the same brain, same hardware. The only difference are the connections or the synapses or the connections which we have in our brain, which is called as the synapses. And these synapses are the ones which are generated because of our emotional experiences, because of our memories, and they are different. And because they are different, mindset is different. So if you really get to a situation where you can create new synapses, then you can evolve a different mindset. That's the basic principle with which I have been talking about in these videos. So what is an agile mindset? Believes that our intelligence can be developed, leads to a desire to continually learn, and therefore I would have a tendency to look for people who challenge me to grow. I would not really look for people who would only praise me and then pat me on my back. I want to people who would challenge me to grow, who would basically ask me questions, ask me very difficult questions, so that I am forced to learn. I am forced to do tasks which are not possible. Give me a task which is not possible, so I'm challenged to do that task. So that kind of people I'll surround myself with. Embrace novelty with a desire to master new skills. That means I want to do something new because I want to master that skill. So that's a lifelong learning. Embrace challenges. There are a lot of initiatives called as a lifelong learning, lifelong learner, and all those things. All that happens only because you have an agile mindset. Embrace challenges. Persist in the face of setbacks. Of course, if there is a setback, don't give up. Continue persisting. See the effort as a path to mastery. That means more and more effort I put, I know that I become a master in that particular field. So I really welcome effort. I really don't really shy away from effort, shy away from doing something. Accept and learn from criticism, which is quite natural. And find lessons and inspiration in the success of others. Look at somebody who succeeded, find what was good in him, and then learn from that. It's not really a problem at all. I too can succeed. It's only a question of time and effort. Then focus on the process and learning without worrying about the outcomes. As a result, I would continually reach ever higher levels of achievement. So I don't have any limit at all. I keep doing something more every year, every day, every month, every minute, every hour, every week. So that's agile mindset. To put in another way, this is the true essence of what Lord Krishna preaches Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita. This has been the Indian philosophy, the Karma Yoga, whatever you call about, is basically to have an agile mindset, just an agile mindset. And mind you, it's also not possible to have everybody in the world only with agile mindset. There will be people with fixed mindset and with agile mindset. Those who are in some kind of a professions which cannot be, where you cannot take so much amount of risk, where the risk taking is extremely dangerous, life threatening. So they would possibly need to have more agile, fixed mindset. But what I believe in organizations, as you go higher up in the hierarchy, you need to be having an agile mindset. You cannot be working as a leader with a fixed mindset. That won't really take your team anywhere. It's important that leaders possess an agile mindset. As you grow in your career, agile mindset is what is going to take you a longer way. That's the reason why I keep telling that we need to have agile mindset. And people with agile mindset are the ones who can transform society, who can really create something new, who can really give a direction, who can really set examples, who can really create a new culture. So therefore, agile mindset is required. So when I talk about changing mindset, I'm talking about developing an agile mindset. And mind you, it is not possible that everybody can develop agile mindset. Everybody can try. But we need to have in a society some portion also with fixed mindset for those activities which have to be routinely done without any change, mundane activities which have to be constantly done. You cannot say that, look, I'm going to be a taxi driver, and I started with a fixed mindset. I say that's the plateau which I really realize, and that's I'm happy with that. So such people also are required. You cannot say that every taxi driver wants to become a owner of Uber. It's not possible. So you have to have a balance between the two. But progressing towards agile mindset is really healthy. And even for people with agile mindset, once you understand what mindset is, it becomes much more easier to understand the reality around you. So that's the reason why I've been talking about mindset, which is all about the way we are perceiving the reality, the way we are thinking, the way we are deciding, and the way we are acting or responding. Going further, now when I talk about collective mindset, I'm talking about a mix of people with agile and fixed mindset and different diverse fixed mindset, diverse agile mindset coming together as a team. And they need to develop a collective mindset. This collective mindset is something which is very, very much necessary for any organization, any team to succeed, because then they have an identity and that they have got a common purpose, a common way of looking at things. And that's something which is extremely necessary for teams to really achieve amazing outcomes and outstanding results. So that's something which is what I wanted to share today. After that, I go to the topic of why mindset, which is equally important. Today's sharpening area is process. So let me take some example from the process and then talk about that. See, in today's situation of COVID pandemic, I've been speaking to some of my customers and trying to understand what way could we do something different as a consultant, because I'm really more or less at standstill, because there is no company interested in investing in a consultant or any training or any coaching, because all these budgets have been cut. And he was talking about cutting down the cost could be a very, very interesting way of working, where you cut down the, how do you cut down the cost? You need to do process analysis. And this is again very simple, right? You need to really look at what is the input, what is the output, and how does the product or a service flow through the various steps, and try to find out which are all the non-value adding activities, and try to either eliminate them or combine them or simplify them, so that you really come to a situation where you have a very, very lean process, very, very seamless process, which would then reduce the cost. That is understood. It's not no rocket science. Anybody can design that within a day. But implementing it is a bigger problem, because that's where the mindset comes into picture. Because I don't want to do that. I've never had success in doing that. So therefore, there are a lot of resistance, resistance to change. And that's the reason why one needs to work on mindset to really get those people who develop those wonderful ideas to also implement them. That's the basis of mindset. I would not dwell more about process today, because I would do that tomorrow when I combine that with vendors. Tomorrow is vendor day and process day. And today I would spend a little more time in talking about this week's 3 activities which are required for the annual, for the quarterly business plan. And before that, very quickly, a very quick recap of the daily agenda, daily morning standing meeting. Scoreboard, in case you don't have one, please prepare one to make sure that everybody understand the score within a fraction of a second. Then ensure that the success and failure of yesterday is analyzed by each and every participant of the daily morning standing meeting, and they come up with what they are going to do differently to ensure that the success gets repeated and the failure doesn't happen again. And make sure that you have decided on the rolling plan, and for 5-day rolling plan, yesterday, today, tomorrow, day after, and the day after. Then in case there are any deviations, make sure that these deviations are tackled, and then there is no impact on the end outcome. And finally, ensure that the teamwork runs seamlessly despite having conflicts between the team members, which is quite natural, because conflicts are bound to exist. Each one have got their own mindset, conflicts are there, especially when everybody is inspired and engaged and very, very enthusiastic in achieving a goal. If that inspiration can be lit, if you can light that fire in their belly, in every team member's belly, which is what, by the way, we do in doHow. If you can light that fire in the belly, then conflicts are bound to happen. And if the conflicts are there, it's a healthy situation. You need to only make sure that these conflicts are used in the positive sense to make sure that something productive comes out of the conflict towards the outcome, so that the outcome can be achieved easily, better, or even more effectively. So conflicts are a must, and conflicts exist because of the fire in the belly. And to light the fire in the belly is what we do with doHow. And doHow is not something which I'm supposed to speak here because I don't want to speak on doHow. But still, anyway, I address that because that's what we do. And then the team conflicts have to be used to make sure that you do something better for the outcome. That's the next topic. And then ensure that there are recognitions and celebrations of some event or other, so the team gets further energized and motivated. And finally, make sure that your escalations on any reporting to be done, any approval request to be given, or some heads up to be given to your seniors or top management is organized. This is a daily meeting, which has to happen in each and every company. That is one of the fundamental, foundation stones for ensuring that the cost control is available. Because I'm talking about cost because of COVID. Cost is a big issue nowadays. So that's the score, which then I get on to the weekly activities which one has to do based on the quarterly business plan template which I have done. This week is the job of organizing succession and career planning for everybody. Of course, this is done confidentially by looking at the various attributes of a particular individual, understanding the performance, understanding the potential that the person has, and understanding the relationships and trust, etc. So many factors are there. That is one. And second is to talk about market forecast for the next 3 years, because right now there's no point in doing a forecast for 5 years or 10 years. Only do 3 years. Long term of 3 years is a good enough horizon now. And finally, to do any pest play or SWOT analysis, or pest or SWOT analysis. Pest play stands for political, economic, social, technological, legal, and environmental. These are all the trends which you look at, find out what is happening in all these 6 areas, and see in what way that can impact your company. That is the analysis one you do. And the second is to talk about SWOT analysis, which is strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So once you've done that, of course, you can also add on the business continuity planning to make sure that despite all the ups and downs, and maybe if the pandemic again intensifies, how do you ensure that the business continues? That's something which you need to look at. And that these 3 topics have to be dealt with this week. So with that, I thank you a lot for watching today's live session, and wish you a very nice evening for those of you in India. And for those of you outside India, have a great day ahead. And before I go, remind you on doing this small exercise of talking to your neighbors, friends, relatives, or colleagues on their perceptions of people-to-people interactions and what you assume their perceptions would be. Find the commonalities, find the differences, and evolve a common collective mindset. Thanks a lot for watching. See you tomorrow, more or less at the same time. Goodbye.